Welcome everyone. Another week. And as you can see, I'm sat in a different chair. So we're mixing it all up, letting it all go, letting the old go. And that's what the title for today is, let it all go. So I think that's really this time now that we're going to spend together, is to have that as an experience, because that's what we want. The only way that's going to end our doubting is an experience. And so that's what we call forth. We can't expect to get this through theory. So, as you know, these times are very precious together. And the experience is here and now. There's nothing to wait for. There's nothing to be gained in the future. It's all waiting for us now to realize that the power is here to change our minds about everything, that we were wrong, that I was wrong about everything. And so really that's what Let It All Go is all about, and that's what the reason why I'm talking about it is because that's what I'm doing. The only reason why we are here is to let it all go, because there's nothing in form actually for you. That's the whole point. There's nothing worth striving for. It's like a mirage, and it's confusing. Form is confusing, and it doesn't give us what we want in the end. And so we have to go with what is going to give us everything. And so we have our map in A Course in Miracles that is leading us home. Same as many other paths that lead us home. But we have our chosen path as A Course in Miracles, and so we need to use that, and we need to understand it very deeply. And the core is let it all go. I mean, that's it, really. That's the whole book. Let everything go. It's kind of pretty simple. As you know, we like to keep it simple here, because the ego only wants to complicate this journey, and it doesn't need to be. But we have to understand what it is and what it isn't. That's going to be pretty important. And the thing is what I've seen in my experience is that holding on to these roles that we seemingly play in life are very, very painful. Because through playing roles, we feel very, very responsible for things. And there's a lot of control in that. There's a lot of desires. There's a lot of wanting. There's a lot of needing. And when needs and desires aren't met, sadness comes, despair, depression, anxiety. Because we're looking for hope where there is no hope. But the good news is there is hope. There's more than hope. Yeah, there's more than hope. And so that's what we have to look at, because when we play these roles out here, we become stuck, and they're very, very painful. And the whole Course in Miracles is basically undoing the self-concept of everything that you think you know and believe. And so, for instance, you know, you believe you're a person. You believe that either you're a daughter or a son to parents. You believe you have cousins, maybe. You believe you have sisters and brothers. And within those connections, there are these ties. And these agreements that have been made by the ego, and they are not real, and they are very destructive actually, because they are actually built around guilt. All of our relationships here are actually built upon guilt, plain and simple. Whether you're a parent, whether you're not a parent, the whole thing is based on guilt. Worry, concern. This is what we call love in this world. I worry about my children because I love them. Well, how can you love them when you're worrying about them? This is all egoic thinking. Sometimes I hate you and sometimes I love you. That's what we call our relationships here. It fluctuates. And of course, as we're learning, there are no small upsets in the mind, because it's only a projection of our own mind. So there are actually, in truth, there are actually no relationships. There's one relationship, and that is with God. And that's what we have to come to realize in the end. There is only one relationship. And that one relationship spills out to everything, because it is everything. And so everything else is actually nothing. It's a fragment of your own mind. It's imaginary. And so all of the attachments that you have to the roles are illusory. And they seem so real. And so when we have a topic like let it all go, it's like, what do you mean? I need to let go of my family. I need to let go of my friends. I need to let go of everything of this world. Yes, that's right. That's the bottom line. And the ego just wants to create fear out of this, and hopefully through this conversation that we're going to let it up in a beautiful way, because we don't want to be a prisoner to this. Because the ego is now probably, if you're feeling the fear, the ego is saying to you, yeah, you're going to lose everything. But in actual fact, you're going to gain everything. And that's the whole point. You're going to have to take that risk and realize that you're going to gain everything. And you're going to have to realize that you don't know what any of these relationships are for at all. And you don't know what love is. As you know, the very start of the book, he teaches us straight off, this course does not teach the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be told. What can be told is to let go of the blocks to love's presence. So he's already telling us, you, in a nutshell, you don't know what love is. You have no clue what it is. So to think that you love your children, you love your partner, you love your friends, he says no. You don't know that. You don't know what that is. Because if you have certain love for ones and certain love for others, then that is not love. Love is a unified, direct experience. And that must be experienced to end all the doubting. And if you haven't had that, then that is definitely the experience you really, really want to have, because that will end all this doubting forever. And you will see that then there is no loss with anything or anyone. It's like you take it all back into your own mind. That's why, Krishnamurti said, I am the world and the world is me. Because he saw there's no separation at all. It's all completely me. And so when we see it in ego perception as separate things that we can lose or we can gain, that we can hate, that we can love, then it's just fragmentation. And we cling to the things that we seemingly like more, the jewels of the world that we like more. And so that's through special people. And so, yeah, part of that is family, isn't it? Most people think their family are more special than anyone else. And it's like, well, no, they're not actually. They're not at all. Everything must come back in to be seen as whole. And that's where like this responsibility comes in, because then you feel responsible for your children or for your parents, and they feel, you know, for all of your family and things. And it's like, that's not even it's not our role to be responsible. Our only role is to align ourselves with the love, with the real love, unconditional, pure love. And in actual fact, I'd like to read something from A Course in Miracles today, and this is the first time that we've done that in 14 episodes, because I think that it's really, really important that we really, really understand this message, because there can be a lot of fear around that, this letting go. It freaks us out. It freaks the ego out. It doesn't freak out the real self, because the real self is completely changeless, timeless. And so everything's just coming and going as it is, in truth. But if you're really, really caught up in the world, then you're going to believe in gain and loss. And so that is very, very painful. And so we all want to experience oneness. I think something inside of everyone knows that there's a deeper connection. I think everyone kind of agrees on that, whether you've experienced it or not. And so that's really where you're going. And so then that connection means that connection is with everything and everyone. For then the whole thing to be actually nothing. It actually, because it's not a connection in form. It's actually a connection beyond form, beyond time, beyond space. That is the goal. That's where we're going. And then seemingly we will be here in a body, just being in that direct experience for however long. So really that's our only job, because that was something I got asked. So I have to give up my job to do A Course in Miracles. Well, no, because you've only got one job, and that's forgiveness. There are no other jobs here. So your only actual job is forgiveness. So you haven't got any other jobs to actually give up, as long as everything's being used for forgiveness and for oneness, and to join your mind in that direct experience, then that's all that's needed. That's what form is here for, to be used for healing. And the same as, other questions like, so I can't love my family. Well, what we're learning is you've never loved your family. Only God can love. Only oneness can love. And so maybe actually that's why I can read this for you, because this will really, really help. Because that's what we were talking about last week, about the full commitment is only this way. It's not into the form. It's only here. That's the only commitment that you have. You don't have any commitment to family. You don't have any commitment to any other things in this world. And here, everything will be taken care of. And so, of course, when we go on this journey, we want to have that experience. And so here, he spells it out for us. So I'd like to read a little bit for us to really be able to take this in deeply, because I think this dispels the fear too. Because what I'm talking about, and to be honest, it happened to me. When I first got the course, I feel so grateful for this, because when I first got the course, it was literally, I felt like it was battered into me that these relationships are nothing. These special relationships are absolutely nothing, and you're making this stuff up, and it is so on the surface. It is not even worth your time. And to think that some special person's going to come in your life and rescue you from this hellhole that you find yourself in is absolutely ridiculous. And yet there is something that goes beyond all of that, that will save you and will show you what you are. And it's like this whole world has been set up to believe that these relationships will save you, and they're never going to save you. They're never going to give you what you want. They're actually for you to learn to give to them, but they're not for you to get from. And all the time you're trying to get from them, you're going to be very, very disappointed. And so it's such a deep lesson. And I remember having this, you know, because he talks about it a lot in the course, having it drilled in. And I just thought, wow, everything that I thought that I believed is absolutely false. And I remember I was literally on the floor. I was literally on the floor to it like this. And I could feel this pain in my body, like, these relationships aren't real. I just can't believe it. And there was a part of me through this pain that was coming through my body, of course, because the ego's wanting to, no, believe in these relationships. No, don't dispel this. I was on the floor, literally, in this pain all around my chest. And I'm just thinking, right, so you're telling me that there is no family? Yes, I'm telling you that. You're telling me that there are no friends? Yes, yeah, I'm telling you that. You're telling me that there's no real special person that will be in my life that is going to make me feel whole, perfect and complete? Yes, there's no one. And it was like, part of me was like, oh my God, on the floor. But part of me was like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew that this wasn't it. And so it felt very, very painful in the beginning in my whole body, seemingly, of like, I was just completely and utterly lied to. I have just lied to myself about what's going on. And it's just seemed so real. And now you're telling me, and because I'd gone, I was lucky, I just believed it, I guess. And I just thought, I know that this is the truth. So I know that I have to let go of all this. So that was my prayer. Okay then, I don't know how to let go of all of this. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to stop believing in family, in my roles, in my friends, in my relationships, in wanting relationships. I don't know how to do it. And he says, well, yeah, you don't have to, because I will show you. But it's only your willingness to actually let it all go. And so the beautiful thing about it is that what I know is that when I'm feeling the pain, I know that actually what it is it's actually that I'm ready to release it. So I thought, okay, this is great. I'm actually ready to release this. I'm actually ready to let go of all of these roles. So this is going to be a beautiful notch out of the continuum that I find myself in. So yeah, let's do it. If this is what you're saying to me is true, then I'm gonna believe it. I'm gonna take it on wholeheartedly. Because of course, he never ever leaves us there. He always says, there's much more waiting for you. There's much, much more. And that's actually what I want to show you. And that's why it's the mirage. You're walking in the desert and you're believing that the water's there, all of the figures of time and space. And when you get to the watering hole or the figures, they're actually not there. There's nothing there. And you're continually chasing the mirage to seemingly be fulfilled. When in actual fact, if you look up to all the heavenly glory, you were already there. You were just chasing your own tail like a cat that didn't know any better. And so now we're learning that, okay, we didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. They're pretty set rules in this seeming life. But it doesn't tell you that something else is beyond that, and that there's a love beyond all of that. So here, this is where Jesus teaches us what really we're looking for. And this is lesson 127. There is no love but God's. Perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. Love is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, nor divergencies and no distinctions. It is like itself, unchanged throughout. It never alters with a person or a circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of His Son. Love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change. He does not see that changing love must be impossible. And thus he thinks that he can love at times and hate at other times. He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others. To believe these things of love is not to understand it. If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the Son of God in separate parts. Love cannot judge. As it is one itself, it looks on all as one. Its meaning lies in oneness. And it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part. There is no love but God's, and all of love is His. There is no other principle that rules where love is not. Love is a law without an opposite. Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one, the link between the Father and the Son, which holds them both forever as the same. So there's the good news. So that's the beautiful thing, because if you haven't experienced a oneness experience, then you don't know what love is. So that's what you need. You need to see that. You need to see it for yourself. So that can be a beautiful prayer, because otherwise we're just in doubt and in disbelief. And we think that we know what love is, but we actually only know love of which the ego created, which we can't even call love when we look at it deeply, because it doesn't interconnect with everything. It's not connected to everything, and so therefore it's not love. So it's better to say that you have never loved than to say that you have loved, because only God can love. So that's definitely my prayer, always. That if that's true, then okay, then I need to be experiencing that. I need to be experiencing that all the time. I need to be shown that that is absolutely true for absolutely everything. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I hope for everyone. I think that feels like my mission. I want everyone to experience this love. I want everyone to have the experience that will end all doubting. I really do. Because once you do, you really see the nothingness of this world. And you know what made me laugh about just reading this lesson to you today? Is the next lesson after that is 128. The world I see holds nothing that I want. So he tells you what love is. There is no love but God's. And then he gives you the answer in the next lesson of how to do it. The world I see holds nothing that I want. So you've got to let go of the whole world and see that it holds nothing for you. And then 129, beyond this world, there is a world I want. But in truth, you cannot go on to lesson 129 without fully accepting that the world I see holds nothing that I want. Because that's just going to hold you back. And that's actually really what we're doing. That's really the sorting office. So I think these 3 lessons are perfect. So I recommend that if you haven't read the whole lesson of 127, I recommend really reading it. Because then you're going to be like, okay, great. Now I know what I'm going for. Because there's many more beautiful things in there for you. So okay, that's really what it is. And that's the experience of loving everything. Wow, that's just amazing. Okay, how do I do it? The world I see holds nothing that I want. Okay, so I've got to look at where I'm wanting in this world, where I'm wanting anything. And of course, the reason why we're stuck here is because we're wanting things. So that's okay. And now we go back to the beginning of the book where he says, your only job is just to bring the blocks to me, to bring the blocks to love's presence. And you know, really that's what we're doing here all the time. That's what I'm doing here. We get given roles, but we get given the roles to transcend the roles. That's the same as you. You know, I got given a sun role, for instance, to transcend the sun role. So it's not like, oh God, this is so terrible. So how the hell do I let go of seemingly that I'm a sun? Well, no, it's going to be wonderful. You're going to transcend the role to see everything as whole, to see that there is no difference between your seeming mum and dad. You will see them as pure radiant love, and I have. I've experienced it. I've experienced that shift. And it's wonderful. And seeing them for new, for fresh, completely, like, wow, I never knew that was them. Because of the role. The role is so thick. And that's what keeps us from the dreamer of the dream. These roles. And so that's what we're doing here. So it's like, in a way, with your work roles, for instance, seemingly form work roles I'm going to talk about now, it's like they are there to only transcend them. You know, you're like a cashier, for instance, in a shop, and you're like, okay, I'm just a cashier. And it's like, well, no, you're here to see that you're none of that, and to see that you're everything. And so in actual fact, probably, I've never been a cashier, but I imagine it's quite a good job, because you're having so many beautiful reflections all of the time, and you're going to get reflections of whatever's in your mind, but then it just becomes your practice. You don't have to actually go anywhere to find your mighty companions. They're all just coming one after another, reflecting whatever's in your mind, just to completely transcend that whole role. So it can become really, really fun. So of course, everything that you do can be completely used. So that was the other question that I got asked. So am I saying that you need to be in community to do A Course in Miracles? And it's like, well, no, do what you like. It doesn't matter wherever you go, there you are, because it's not about form, it's about your mind. And so it doesn't matter if you end up on the moon, what do you think is going to happen? You're still going to be stuck with your mind, and you're still going to have to transcend it. So wherever you go, there you are. So that's the thing. So it don't matter where you are. You can be in Mexico, you can be in England, you can be in America, you can be in any seeming country you want. But it's like people, don't they? They go around the world and say, I went to find myself, but I got back and I'm still stuck with the same problems. Well, yeah, because you're not going to find it in the world. So that's why we're always looking at the mind. So it's like everything that really, that's what I see here, is like everything that I'm doing is to look at where I feel responsible, where I feel weak, where I feel helpless, where I feel shame, where I feel guilt, where I feel embarrassment, where I feel fear. Because that's actually what I want to let go of. And so it's actually very, very wonderful. And that's why we have to become those happy learners to do that, because these lessons come up and they're uncomfortable. You know, I still feel uncomfortable. I still feel uncomfortable at times with things and think, what on earth am I doing? Why can't I be open to what's given? Why am I resistant? Why aren't I happy? They're all really good questions. It's like, yeah, so if I'm not happy, then there's something stopping me. So I just got to see that belief. I've just got to see that. You know, it's like Buddhism, as they say in Zen. You know, you're polishing the mirror. You're just cleaning the mirror of all the thoughts until it becomes completely and utterly clear. And then when it's actually clear, you can actually see who you are. But how can you see yourself through a darkened lens? How can you see yourself in the murky water? We have to let the water clear so we can see the pure reflection of ourselves. And so that's what we're doing. And so just because we haven't had a oneness experience, it's like, well, that's what I need to pray for then. I need to really see it. Because I need to feel that strength inside of me to end all that doubting. Because that's all the time, that's all I want to strengthen in my own mind. Because I have no doubt. I know the love's real. I absolutely know it. So nothing can waver my mind in that, because I've experienced it. And so it's like, wow, so now I can share that with you. So I know it's true. So I'm not just giving you a bunch of theory here and saying, oh yeah, just follow the book and hopefully you'll find your way. No, it's absolutely real. It's absolutely real and amazing and unbelievable, and I've only just touched the surface, so I don't even know where I am. I don't know how deep it is. I really don't know, but I feel blessed that I can share this with you from my heart to your heart, to know that it's absolutely true and that there's nothing to fear. And keep going towards it. Because now I have no doubt in which way I'm going, and whatever comes along in my path, then that's just for me to forgive and to let go. And that's the strength that we want. And that's not my strength, that's definitely his strength. He changed my mind completely. And that's wonderful. That's just a blessing, and now I get to share that blessing with you. And so sometimes we have to go through this murkiness together, and we have to look at this fear head on together. That's why we're not separate. This isn't something that you have to do on your own. And so, but we have to talk about these things. We have to be real. We have to be honest. And we have to see the world for what it is. You know, no one else is going to tell you that. And even you can hear my words, but you have to do it. You have to really want to do it. It's as simple as that. You have to want this more than anything. You have to want this more than the roles that you want to play in life, in this seeming life. You have to want to understand your real role, which isn't a role at all. Because it will happen for you and to you, and that's what we want. We listen and then we say, okay. And that's all I've ever done. That's how I had the experiences. Because how the hell did I know any of this? I didn't. I just said, okay then, if this is real, show me. Okay, well I need an experience for this, because I can't just believe words in a book. I need the experience. And so that's what we're doing. And so if this, what you're hearing is like, well, I don't understand that, that's absolutely fine. You just say, okay. You have to trust in the truth, because that's what's going to come to you. You keep asking for it. The more and more you keep asked to be revealed, the more you will see. You know, it's like for me actually, like for instance, last week when I talked about commitment, it was like I could see that there was this real sort of, my mind went down a bit because the ego just didn't like it. But it's like, well, so what? We've got to, I'm here to face it head on, and I'm here to help you face it head on. And so it was like, whoa, you know, bring him down, take him down. Don't let him make the real commitment, because otherwise it's going to be game over for me. So, okay, better throw a few spanners in the work and make his life a bit difficult to slow him up a bit. And it's like, well, no. No. I am committed. I am completely committed, and there's nothing else for me. And there's nothing else for you either. And really what we're doing is we're actually committing to find out the love that we are. And I think, wow, that's got to be worth everything that I've got then, isn't it? And so I share this, and I know the ego doesn't like it. Not my problem. Not my problem at all. I'm just here to bring it on and bring up those blocks. It was like someone shared with me. I said that bring it on prayer, and everything started going. Everything started coming up. But it was beautiful, the healing come through. So that is a very, very powerful prayer. But yeah, it's to see it all for the nothingness that it is. And we want to see that everything is being offered us. So it's like for me in my life, I've always thought, why would I settle for second best? And everything in here, so far, has been offered. As far as I've come, he's shown me everything. So I trust that. It's like you do the course and then you're like, wow, that was real. wow, it's not just theory, it's actually real. And that's the beautiful thing, it actually becomes alive. It actually becomes alive in your mind, and you're like, this is amazing. So of course, I'm not saying I'm there, he hasn't showed me everything, I didn't mean it in that way, but it's like, he showed me everything that I possibly can handle at the moment. So I have no doubt. And there's plenty more to be seen. And so that's the joy. It's like the child in the sweet shop, isn't it? There's never enough. And it's like, there's so many options, and it's very exciting. And in a way, that's what we are. We're children in the sweet shop. And Jesus is just handing out the sweets left, right and centre, and just saying, yeah, I've got plenty more where that came from. And there's plenty of varieties in this oneness, in this beautiful oneness. Of course, that's kind of like an ego metaphor, isn't it? Variety. But it's kind of a beautiful one as well. Because that's where we want to come to. We want to come where I want to come, where I am that's so open to receive the gifts, because that's all it is. It's actually that we feel very unworthy to receive the gifts. And so today we're just opening up to receive those gifts. So I just want to wish everybody that they receive the deepest prayer of their heart, that whatever's blocking you is released, and that you can take as much love in as you can, the real love, so you can feel that wholeness and that completeness. And that's my wish for you for this week, and right here and now. So yeah, thank you once again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next week. Many blessings, and let's expect miracles, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.